Hi, my name is Deb, and this is my furry sidekick, Kylie, and this is DG Reads. And today we're here to have just a little chatty introduction for the 10 SPFBO books on my immediate TBR for Team Covers with Cassidy. So Cassidy very kindly invited me to be back as part of her team this year. She is one of the official judges for the 10th year of SPFBO, which is the self-published fantasy blog off. And my job as part of her team is to read 10 of the books that she was assigned and pick a semifinalist to give to Cassidy to read to pick a finalist. So I will of course link Cassidy down below and her introduction video, but I figured I would start things off for my reading list with an introduction of the 10 books, and maybe something will pique your interest to check out as well. And I am very hopeful to find some great reads in this list of 10. So I'm just going to be here snuggled up with my puppy. I've got my list on my phone and go over what I have in store for my reading. I will be using a spinner wheel to select the order for my reading. So at the end of the video, I will reveal which book is up first. But for now, these are in no particular order. Let's get to it. To start with, I have The Burning Fire Rises by Jeff Walker. This one is 276 pages. It's book one of The Mysterious World of Professor Dark and Miss Shadow. And it just came out this past March, and so far it has 0 ratings or reviews on Goodreads. This one says it's a paranormal thriller with elements of science fiction and supernatural fantasy. It's following a main character who's investigating the site of a apparent spontaneous combustion. There's a crater with a bunch of charred remains, and there he runs into this Professor Dark and Miss Shadow, and they have supernatural abilities and are also investigating. So I enjoy a good thriller, I enjoy science fiction, I enjoy supernatural. All of those elements in here have me really intrigued to read this one. Next up we have The Outer Darkness by M.V. Prindle, and this one is 694 pages. This one just came out May 2nd, and so far it has a 5-star rating on Goodreads, but the author is the only one who's rated it. So this one's pretty much starting on the ground floor as well as of when I looked these ratings up. This is an author I recognize from last year and is one that I heard a lot of good things about their last book, so I'm excited for this one. This talks about there being a wall of darkness surrounding a realm of light, but the light's beginning to fail. It talks about demons, it talks about risen dead, it talks about fallen gods, and then it sounds like we're going to be following a group of champions who are fighting for the light. So I've said I really enjoy a little bit of darkness in my fantasy, and this certainly seems like it'll fit the bill. Next up I have The Afterlife Experiment by Sam Weiss. This one is 314 pages and the first book in the Alter Planes, which came out in September. It looks like it's a debut novel, and it currently has 45 ratings as of when I looked these up, with an average of 4.33. We're following a main character who has been in a psychiatric facility for a long time. Her shadow has become sort of its own entity, which she has named Dread, and no one else really quite knows what this is except potentially her missing father. Something happens which allows her to escape the facility, and when she gets out she sees a rift in the sky. And just like with Dread, she seems to be the only one who can see it. I'm interested to see where it goes from there. I'm definitely always looking for good mental health rep in books, so that's a potential here, although I'm not sure how much is really mental health versus something kind of fantasy happening, but I'm looking forward to seeing. Next up I have A Tale of Tales Part 1, A Strange Bunch by Nicola Stephan, and this is the first book in a series. 3 books all came out in 2023. This one in particular came out in February of last year, and it is 208 pages. This one currently has 36 ratings on Goodreads with an average of 4.25. This one says it is a high epic fantasy saga based on the motifs of ancient myths, legends, and forgotten fairy tales. So it's following a main character that they say is no hero, but then what sounds like a series of tragedies hits and she's forced to cling to her dog and flee for her life, and she winds up meeting people who protect her, and more people join their party, and they start to realize not everything is as it appears. So it sounds like this has potential for good found family vibes, which I really enjoy, and I'm looking forward to joining this character on their journey. Next up is Moonbitten by C.S. Churton, and this one is 335 pages. It's the first book in the Fur and Fang Academy series, and it looks like the full series is 3 books, all of which are currently out. This one actually came out in December of 2020. And it has 236 ratings on Goodreads with an average of 4.27. So we're following a main character who never believed in the supernatural until she was bitten and became a shifter herself. And now she must give up a lot of what her original human dreams were and adapt to this new reality. This new shifter academy she's now going to has a lot of rules. They're very strict and a lot of consequences if she's not able to adapt. This one sounds like there's something sinister going on behind the scenes, which has me intrigued. I always enjoy a little bit of a darker or mysterious element to a book, and it sounds like it has some coming of age elements, and I look forward to getting to know this shifter world. Next up, I have Father of Constructs, The Janitor Killed the World Boss by Aaron Renfro, and this one is 440 pages. This is part of the Father of Constructs series, and it looks like there are 3 books currently out. This particular book came out in September 2023, and this one currently has 279 ratings on Goodreads with an average of 4.43. So from my list, this one is the one that has been the most read and rated. The synopsis for this one says that centuries ago, people defeated the world boss by reducing it to 1 hit point and then sealing it off from the world. And doing this maybe saved them at the time, but it also cut off the flow of magic in this world, and now the world is nearing collapse. So they need to find where this world boss is, release it, and kill it. This is going to be my first lit RPG read, so I'm excited to give that a try. I don't know too much about it, but I do enjoy games. I do enjoy reading, so combining the two sounds like something that could very well work for me. And next up, I have A Witch's Guide to Business by Alex Evans, and this one is 242 pages. This book just came out in April of this year, and currently it has 2 ratings with an average of 4.5. It sounds like we're following 2 different characters who historically have been on opposing sides in a war, but they each have unique magical abilities, and they've decided to team up in an occult business. The synopsis mentions 2 cases that they're working on, one being a vampire ensnared in a hex, and the other one being a bunch of unfortunate incidents at a factory run by zombies. So this has a lot of intriguing elements, and I'm interested to see how they work together. It sounds like there may be a bit of a cozy nature to the book, but also potentially some darker elements. I'm not entirely sure from the synopsis, but I look forward to finding out. And then I've got Lizard Skin and Sharpened Steel by Damian Larkin, and this one's 302 pages. It just came out in May, and currently it had 3 5-star ratings on Goodreads. There's an island where dinosaurs still roam, and there's a group of people who are going there to get giant lizard eggs, which are somehow used in war. They're exploring the island and find mysterious forces, and it sounds like there are secrets to uncover. This sounds like it's going to be a fun adventure story. Definitely always looking for dinosaur books, and it sounds like there's survival element possible to this one. I'm looking forward to reading it. Next up is Halen's Ballad, and this is by Ian V. Conray, and this is the longest book on my TBR for SPFBO, and this one's 775 pages. This book came out in November 2021, and currently it has 75 ratings at 4.24 rating average. This one's described as a grimdark fantasy steampunk, and it sounds like it's following multiple characters, each with their own kind of path and challenges, but all of their fates are somehow tied to an orphan boy who has drowned and come back to life in another country and will bring death to everyone he meets. So this sounds like a big epic adventure. I definitely look forward to that. Definitely has some of the darker elements I enjoy in fantasy, so I'm excited for that. And last up we have Dreadchild by J.L. Doughty, and this one is 298 pages. It came out in March of this year, and currently it has 2 ratings with an average of 4.5. There's a young boy named Ket who has a mark on their arm. As far as he knows, it's just discolored skin, but a wizard apparently sees it as a dread mark, which is a sign of evil and greatness. His mother is killed, he winds up kidnapped, and he must survive and figure out what this curse, what this dread mark really means. So again, this is another book that sounds like it has some dark elements to it, and definitely one that seems to have good potential for me. So that is my full list of books. There's something about each one of them that is definitely calling to me, so I'm really happy with how my list wound up. I give a blanket apology for any mispronunciations of names or titles or characters, but I look forward to getting to read all of these books. I will be bringing you updates with my thoughts and my reviews in reading vlogs here on YouTube, but also look for reviews on Bookstagram and on my blog, all of which are linked down below. Bookstagram usually has my brief thoughts when it comes to reviews. The blog will go into greater details on my written reviews. They'll also be updated on Goodreads. So for now, the last thing to do is figure out what book I'm going to be starting with. So I figured I would include that at the end of this video. So the first spin on my SPFBOX books gives us Father of Construct. So I will be starting with that one and then spin as I go and pick my next book from there. Thank you so much for being here. I hope something that I talked about today maybe drew your attention to something that you might want to add to your TBR as well. I definitely look forward to bringing you my thoughts as I get reading these. Let me know in the comments below if any of these caught your attention, or if you have other self-pub books you would recommend that I add to my TBR. I'd love to hear. If you've made it this far and you don't have anything to comment, please leave me an emoji, something that makes you think about fantasy, because that's what the SPFBO competition is all about. I'd really appreciate it if you could also hit that like button below and subscribe if you're interested in more of my content. But that's it for now, and I will catch you in the next video.